A very good afternoon. Welcome to UBC News Roundup today on the 18th of June 2023. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. In our top stories of the week, nearly 40 pupils were this weekend reportedly killed at Livelihood High Secondary School in Mumbere at around 11:30 p.m. on Friday. They entered dormitories, setting fire and using machetes to kill and maim the pupils, officials said. The Allied Democratic Forces based in the Democratic Republic of Congo have been blamed and a manhunt is underway. Information and National Guidance Minister said 37 students were confirmed to have been killed but did not give their ages. 20 of them were attacked with machetes and 17 of them burned to death, Chris Bariomosi explained to the media. UPDF said that the rebels had also killed a school guard and 3 members of the local community. Survivors said that the rebels threw a bomb into the dormitory after the machete attack. It is not clear if this resulted into a fire in the building, which was reported earlier. Now 6 students were also abducted to carry food that the rebels stole from the school stores, he added. The militants then returned across the border into the DR Congo. 8 people remain in a critical condition after the attack.
Suspected militants have killed more than 36 people, most of them students, in an attack on a secondary school in western Uganda. Several others have been abducted. According to a military spokesman, the private school, just 2 kilometers from the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, was set on fire and its food stocks looted. When the country's armed forces arrived, the school was found burning with dead bodies of students lying in the compound. Authorities say the attack involved about 5 rebels from the Allied Democratic Forces, an extremist group with ties to the Islamic State.
Well, what we still know is that 41 people died in this attack, allegedly by the ADF militants who are scampering from the offensive by the UPDF in the thickets of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, it is stated, and information has it, that 20 girls did perish at this specific school called Livelihood Secondary School. 17 boys died and other 4, including the security guard who was guarding the school premises. Now, relatives of some of the bodies identified have been able to pick their children and they have taken them for burial, but as well other bodies that were burnt beyond recognition were taken to Kabarole Regional Referral Hospital, and they will be subjected to a DNA test to match them with the rightful relatives, and thereafter burials will take place.
This is Bwera General Hospital mortuary, where the 20 bodies of girls were brought. I can confirm to you that all the bodies have been claimed by the relatives for a decent burial.
Now, in the hospital currently, we also have 2 students who were stigmatized, survivors, traumatized, and we thought they should spend a night in the hospital as a way of being rehabilitated and reduce on their pressures, instead of taking them directly home when that situation is actually ringing in their heads. Then also have 2 students also who were injured, and they are on bed, they are admitted. They are still being watched by the medical personnel.
Now, in the twist of events, other stories are coming up regarding the attack, and this is where some of the locals are alleging that the school administration had some disagreements, so have been having disagreements within themselves, and possibly they do believe that the attack could be as a result of that disagreement. Now, to connect the dots as to whether this can be linked to the ADF as well is another question which the security forces can possibly answer.
The director of the school has some conflict with other board members as they started the school. You see, these private enterprises in partnership, there becomes problems. So we are suspecting problems might have come from the administration of the school.
Because in my office, there's no record about those disagreements. But if they are coming up, then I think that is new information that we cannot disregard, but pick interest in it and continue finding out exactly what it is. So in disagreement with who, you can't tell. Over what, you can't tell.
Because we are wondering, these people, how did they pass to all homes from the way from Congo directly to the school after uttering all those sad news, and they went back without doing anything to any family.
This is also what we are wondering about. Killing innocent students, innocent learners. These are soft grounds. I think the terrorists are failing to attack the major points. I know they will be repulsed.
Now, from the entire incident, there are some residents who are not sure whether their children were abducted or they are among those who are burnt beyond recognition, and most of them have decided to camp within this specific area, at least to keep posted about whatever is transpiring in regard to that specific attack.
So we are just waiting. If they have been killed, if the EPF brings the dead body, it is where we shall see and we identify whether he's among those ones. If he's not among those ones, then we shall be sure he's among those ones who were burnt.
But of course, the security agencies are still camped in this area as investigations into the matter do continue. Ivan Kawe is my name, and we shall keep you posted regarding any information we shall be receiving.
Ugandans have been called upon to remain calm as security takes on the task of bringing the situation to normal in Kasese district. This follows an armed attack on Livelihood secondary school at Mumbere border that left over 35 students dead and others critically injured. State Minister for National Guidance Godfrey Kabyanga appeals to Ugandans to stay calm and desist from associating the attack with the recent release of the Mumbere.
Too graphic to show are these pictures. They were taken by some of the first people to arrive at the scene of what is believed to be a terrorist attack in Kasese district. The attack on Livelihood Secondary School at Mumbere border took everyone by surprise. The tale by survivors is so horrifying and is an invitation for tears.
We hid ourselves behind there in the cocoa plantations. So within a short time, we had some other strangers coming, looking for us. For us, we were scared that maybe they are the same people. But good chance, they were coming to help us. And that's why we have survived with the 4 people we are seeing.
Really, it's a moment of grief. And I say sorry to all Kasese people. I say sorry to all the people of this place because really we have lost our people.
The news has been disturbing to the ears of many, including leaders at both local and national levels. Godfrey Kabyanga is the State Minister for National Guidance.
They first killed the gate man, and then after that they went to the boys' hostel, tried to open. The boys had locked themselves in. So when they went to the girls' hostel, they opened it with ease. I think the girls are not locked.
You see, security begins by you yourself. And I want to assure Ugandans that the UPDF may not be everywhere. Even here within Kasese and Pondwe, we cannot really deploy anywhere. The nearest deployment to this place of UPDF was almost 3 kilometers away. The other farthest was 7 kilometers away from this Pondwe Livelihood secondary school. Now, security is all about who you see in a place and you don't understand who she or he is. If you don't report such a person, then such happens.
According to the Uganda People's Defense Forces, 37 bodies were recovered from the school compound. The dead have since been taken to Buera Hospital for post-mortem. Bereaved families are yet to come to terms with the situation.
They slapped using hose, hammers, and so any kind of equipment. But I could hear the alarms of the students crying, Jesus, 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 Jesus.
UPDF and police started ferrying people here in the midnight, and people were in critical condition. They had brought 5 who were ailing and they needed the blood. They had brought 20 dead bodies.
Last week they burnt a truck of merchandise which was coming from Uganda going to Beni. So that is now the tactics which they are using. But I would like to appeal to the people of Kasese and all Ugandans to be calm. We should cooperate with the security forces, give them information. And I know Kasese people, because for us we had a system of home guards. But when the situation settled, they were disarmed and we left the whole the whole security in the hands of the armed forces, but LOCs were giving information here and there.
But as State Minister for National Guidance Godfrey Kabyanga calls for calm, what could have gone wrong?
There is a gang of terrorists, and there are several organizations, and they have now joined together. So ADF is changing shape from time to time. Now they have joined the ISIS. There is another group which was in Mozambique. There was another group which was in the Central African Republic. So they keep making alliances, but their main aim is terrorism. So even when there was a small number then, they have already got several alliances, and that's why even when UPDF went last year, they found their big camps. And also it's important to note that they are recruiting even from Uganda here.
The Rwenzori area, under which Kasese falls, has been peaceful for the last 20 years. This is after successful countering of what the same ADF did to Kichwamba Technical College in 1998 in Bundibujo district.
We shouldn't relax. We should all be vigilant. Even those who are not at the border of Kasese, you should be vigilant. Because most of the people they are arresting are from Busoga, they are from Bale, they are from Buganda here, from all over the country. Some are from Arua. So that means ADF is continuously recruiting from Uganda and from Congo. And most of the people, most of their force was from Congo. Because in Congo, here at least we have a very strong system. But in Congo, the whole of Eastern Congo was a place which had been neglected. And actually it was under control of those dissidents.
The attack happening just a few days after the king of the Rwenzururu, Charles Wesley Mumbere, was set free by the courts of law. Kabyanga warns against connecting the two happenings.
They should be careful, because I know now people are going to bring it and tie it on the Mumbere issue, which will be very, very unfortunate. And that's why I warned political leaders when they were talking so many things, a lot of English on TVs. I said, please talk little English, because someone can easily now connect your words to what has happened, which is very, very unfortunate. But in my heart of hearts, I still believe this is just a mere coincidence.
For now, the pursuit by the UPDF against the attackers continues to rescue the abducted students and apprehend the culprits. Henry Okrut, UBC.
The First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, this weekend condoled with the families who lost their children during this Kasese school attack. Janet expressed confidence that Uganda People's Defense Forces will get the culprits and bring them to book for the atrocities committed. She said officials from Ministry of Education and Sports, led by the State Minister for Higher Education, Chrysostom Muyingo, have travelled to Kasese to sympathise with the community.
Are not easily recognized So, however, the bodies were taken to the mortuary. And then the 20 girls also were killed. Now we know that they were killed with pangas. The auditors spent some 2 days at that school, auditing the books of the school. And they finished on Thursday and left the school on Thursday. And the children were killed on Friday. So another point that came up, that this school has been there has been groups in Kasese who wanted to take it over, but because the school was built by an NGO, there has been that conflict between those groups that wanted to take over the school and the NGO which actually built the school. There's an impression that perhaps the terrorist group may have been used by the people who were fighting to take over the school to do what they have done. But that information will come out at a later stage. My colleague, Honorable Muyingo, who quickly flew to that area, to the school, with the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Education and the commissioner in charge of private schools, to get to the grassroots and really find out more information so that we can know exactly what happened. The president also helped us with some support for the affected families to help to arrange the funerals and help them to manage in this very difficult time. So on behalf of the government of Uganda and the Ministry of Education and Sports, and my own behalf, I express our sincere condolences and deepest sympathies to the bereaved families, the students, the staff of this school on this terrible tragedy. I want to appeal to all people of goodwill in the country to pray for those families and the community in the area. Parents across the country, please do not panic. Our children are safe, and they will remain safe. They are evil people, and they are trying to harm our children, but they will not manage always. I am confident.
That was the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni. The Minister of State for Higher Education, Dr. Chrysostom Muyingo, has condoled with parents and relatives who lost their children in this weekend's ADF's attack in Kasese. The minister urged parents in other schools not to remove their children from school following the ADF attack. Muyingo also said government will support the renovations of the school that was torched by the ADF militants.
You go to the gate.
Subiri, wewe ndio charge hapa. Wewe mtu ya mochari.
Kweria abusicho bayishuze saheno mwana maolekerera
kungubaga n'okusaasira famire z'abaana baffe abafiiridde mu njega abasitiddwa abajambula babayita ba terrorists mu ssomero lyaffe Empondwe. Kitalo era kitalo nnyo. Gavumenti eri wamu n'abantu b'ekitundu kino okulaba abantu tuyita mu kaseera kano akazibu. Tugenda nga gavumenti okulaba nti buli famire tugikwatirako esobole okuziika obulungi, nga buli famire tugiwa $5 million kuziika abaana abafa abatufuddeko. Tujja genda mu maaso n'okulabirira abaana baffe abo bakyali mu bulumi mu malwaliro, era gavumenti ejja balabirira n'essomero tujja kulaba nga naye tuliyamba okudda mu mbeera enesobozesa abaana baffe okusoma obulungi, kubanga taamu yatandika okusoma kulina okugenda mu maaso. Njagala kukubira mulanga abantu b'Ekasese, abantu b'ekitundu kino nti tukolagane bulungi nnyo n'abasirikale ba gavumenti okulaba nti abantu abayinza okuba nti tetubategera bulungi mu kitundu kyaffe tubalipootinga bose kyute ne batereeza mu ngeri zaabwe. N'ekirala kinsaba abaana temubajja mu masomero, abaana mubatwale basome, kubanga gavumenti ekikoze kyonna kyonna ekisoboka ejja kukikola okulaba nti abaana baffe gye bali mu masomero bali safe and secure.
Now, government this week explains circumstances under which the King of Rwenzururu was given amnesty with over 217 others. A committee instituted by General Salim Saleh on the recommendation of the President presented a report after making consultations to find a lasting solution to the conflict. Granting amnesty was one of the key recommendations. Details follow.
Kasese district residents are celebrating the release of their king, Charles Wesley Mumbere, who had been imprisoned in connection with the atrocities committed in Rwenzururu around 2016. His release has sparked controversy, with various political figures making statements on the matter. The government has clarified that the release of Charles Mumbere and 217 others follows a report from a dialogue committee established to seek a lasting solution. The committee was comprised of representatives from the royal family, led by the Queen of Rwenzururu, and government officials led by Dr. Ambrose Agona, the former executive director of NARO. The committee was overseen by General Salim Saleh.
And they spent around, I think, close to 4 months interviewing people, studying documentation, looking at the whole situation, what happened, and they came out with recommendations. And it is these recommendations that have led to what you have seen.
Nevertheless, some politicians and analysts have expressed concerns about granting amnesty to individuals believed to have committed atrocities. Typically, amnesty is granted to those who acknowledge their involvement in such acts and plead guilty.
That you go and batter people, you kill people, you dehumanize them, you torture them, and then you tell them, ask me for pardon. So unfair.
But those are unfortunate incidents. And we should say, no, it should never happen again. But if we keep doing post-mortem, reminding people about all that, it's very unfortunate. And it's not that people died in 2006. People died in the 60s.
And I am very sure Museveni hurried to ask these people to sign for amnesty because he just needed something around him to defend him and from the amnesty cases. I mean the ICC cases.
You only need to study about him. There are many people who have written about him. And for you to think he can just append a signature on an amnesty form because he's forced. That one will never be my king, the king I know, because he's a revolutionary king.
The report recommends the reconstruction of the palace, psychosocial support and economic assistance for those who have been released.
Automatically, some of them, men who had wives, some wives are still waiting for them. Some might have left. Some have lost their relatives. There are some even who died in jail. All that will be handled.
The period of imprisonment, according to Godfrey Kabyanga, the State Minister for National Guidance, should serve as a lesson to the people of Kasese to promote unity and cooperation,
so that we can redirect our people into socio-economic transformation activities, support President Yoweri Museveni's initiative on wealth creation. Kasese is a very fertile place, is a well-endowed place. Let us not keep in conflicts all the time.
Prior to their release, Mumbere and others were facing charges including murder, attempted murder, terrorism and treason. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Of the 52.7 trillion shillings budget appropriated for the next financial year, 17 trillion shillings is meant for clearance of debts. This underscores the need to handle well the private sector to promote industrialization and reduce on borrowing. Addressing Ugandans during the 2023-2024 budget reading, President Museveni challenged Ugandans to embrace import substitution and export promotion to uphold economic recovery, expansion and diversification.
Borrowing less or not borrowing at all have been some of the recommendations by the head of state as the 2023-2024 financial year budget was presented. This is because 17 out of the 52 trillion shillings budget is earmarked for repayment of debts.
Many of these debts were being pushed by the neo-colonial public servants until recently, when I put down my foot and insisted on approving every loan. That's why you hear that these loans take time now to be approved, because I insisted I must approve of every loan, external loan. Because all this money was not worth borrowing. If you audit it, it was not borrowed for a good purpose.
To this effect, President Yoweri Museveni wants empowerment of the private sector to support industrialization.
We shall learn from the mistakes of the past and perform better. Now, what I want the NRM cadres to understand is that in order to do the industrialization I talked about, we don't have to use government money. The government money has already been used on the basics, infrastructure, security and so on. The strategy is to handle well the private sector.
In doing so, recovery, expansion and diversification of the economy will be guaranteed. This will be in consolidation of what has so far been achieved since 1986.
Apparently, the import substitution value of these industrial products is about US dollars 3.6 billion. I didn't know that these small factories of Mutayimbwa, steel bars, soap, all these our little factories, that they are saving us a figure of $3.6 billion, which we would have to look for if we are still importing them. But they are also apparently bringing into the country as export earnings US dollars 1.6 billion.
Value addition for import substitution and export promotion has also been singled out as a driver for economic progress. Maize, fish, bananas and milk, among other products, are a possible game changer for this cause.
We have been importing leather from outside. You can imagine, Amaliba, skins and hides. Until recently, when I built that leather factory in Kaumu, our people were importing leather from China and from India. Now, this is where, and I was hearing all of you making speeches there, but I am begging you, all the NRM cadres, this is where history demands collective and cohesive action.
Citing the example of Richard Nyakana, a 1-acre model farmer from Ruengaju in Fort Portal, Museveni says Ugandans can do better.
Nyakana now employs 15 people on this 1.25-acre farm. Some time ago, I pointed out that if 7 million 1-acre farmers created a mere 10 jobs each, not Nyakana's 15, would create 70 million jobs, more than the population of Uganda. And if you want to know that this is possible, you should find out how many Africans came from other countries and came here. Banyarwanda, Burundi, people from South Sudan, from Tanzania. They came because of the few economic activities which were going on during the colonial times. Coffee, cotton, ebikajo, sugarcane. That's how they came. They came because the internal labor was not enough.
The president also seized the moment to talk about the warm and comforting messages from the public regarding his health condition.
Praying and signing the board here near the gate, and all the others who have been wishing me good luck. I appreciate really. It's good to know that I am not as bad as some people try to make me, and that there are Ugandans who appreciate.
The 2023-2024 national budget will be executed under the theme Full Monetization of Uganda's Economy through Commercial Agriculture, Industrialization, Expanding and Broadening Services, Digital Transformation, and Market Access. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, the judiciary is mourning the death of Supreme Court Judge Justice Mary Stella Arach Amoko, who died at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala Saturday morning. In a press conference by the judiciary spokesperson Jameson Kalimani, he sent condolences to the family and the government.
Supreme Court Judge Justice Mary Stella Arach Amoko has died at 69 years at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala. Judiciary spokesperson Jameson Karimani highlighted some of the contributions Justice Stella Arach Amoko made at the judiciary.
Today at 4 a.m. we lost Justice Stella Amoko Arach, who has been a justice of the Supreme Court. She was sick for some little time, and she has been hospitalized in Nakasero Hospital, where she lost the battle this morning.
At the time of her death, Justice Mary Stella Amoko Arach was remaining with only 1 year to retire as a judicial officer.
Justice Arach joined the judiciary in 1997 as a High Court judge. She was later appointed a justice of the Court of Appeal in 2010, and in 2013 she was appointed a justice of the Supreme Court, the position she has been holding until her demise this morning. Justice Arach was remaining with 1 year to retire from judicial service. She has participated in several cases, and a few of them were not completed. So, but according to the law, we shall have other members to join the quorum and complete those cases.
Justice Mary Stella Arach Amoko died at Nakasero Hospital, where she was receiving treatment over health complications.
Moving on from that, government, through the Office of the Prime Minister, designed the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda program to consolidate stability, eradicate poverty, undernutrition, and strengthen the foundations for sustainable development in Northern Uganda. A team of officers, from the Office of the Prime Minister has carried out a field visit. Documentation to exercise has focusing on the successful stories of leading farmer groups in Omoro district in Acholi sub-region.
Northern Uganda has suffered from a development gap with the rest of the country and has the highest rate of poverty and unemployment compared to other sub-regions. The Office of the Prime Minister and partners introduced action for livelihood enhancement projects implemented under the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda, DINU. The project has been running for the period of 5 years, focusing on improving the livelihoods through increased diversified food production, enhanced market opportunities, and better maternal and child nutrition.
A number of farmers have also constructed the semi-permanent houses, because that is one aspect under family development goal that we have been promoting. You see, a number of them have acquired motorcycles, a number of them have bought lands to increase on the production of the crops, a number of them, actually, according to the study that we did, about 78% adapted the crops that we have been promoting, the enterprise that we are promoting.
Ojoko Simon from Labeja village in the Omoro district is among the beneficiaries. He chose beekeeping as a business enterprise and yielded results.
We are selling propolis. We are selling also bee venom. To me, I've started putting at least some small, strong building, as you can see from our home there. That the one that has got stuck on the way, but I hope I will continue.
The DIN program has enhanced household income, food production, and commercial agriculture through improving household resilience.
DIN is Development Initiative for Northern Uganda, which was supported by EU. And we have been in Acholi, we have been in Lango, from our produce. So the basic thing is really mobilizing for production in the communities. And I'm glad even the government, through two big programs, are going to support the community. One is through commercial agriculture. We have the land, but we have not used it enough.
For the period of 5 years, 200 farmer groups have been registered and trained. Members out of the 60% are female. In Omoro district, Caritas Citizen and other partners have been implementing the projects supervised by the Office of the Prime Minister. Haruna Mtesa Asila, UBC.
Government's effort to restore wetlands in Livelihood district has hit a snag following the death of the pigs meant for an alternative source of income for wetland encroachers. According to the district vice chairperson Richard Bamukombeide, the majority of the pigs that were supplied by the Green Climate Fund project did not survive because of the poor quality.
According to Livelihood District Environmental and Natural Resource Department, 60% of the wetlands in the district have been depleted by the rice growers for a living.
Many of our communities fetch their livelihoods from these wetlands, mainly through growing rice. And this has really exaggerated the encroachment levels.
This prompted government to establish the Green Climate Fund project to oversee the alternative sources of income for people engaged in wetland degradation.
And in this case, we were able to provide those groups that were interested in goat rearing, those that were interested in piggery.
Unfortunately, the above efforts to rescue the ecosystem have hit a snag following the death of the majority of livestock, especially the pigs.
They are of poor quality. How do you expect them to exist when they give you a pig is actually for 5 months when it is still at the ground? You just leave and they die or they do other things.
The project focal person confirms about the matter, attributing it to the failure of the beneficiaries to meet high costs of managing the piggery project.
Probably it is expensive to feed the piggery, to maintain the piggery project, because the feeds are costly.
The affected people in the wetland eviction are ready to leave the wetlands if they are supported with a productive alternative source of income.
If there is a productive alternative, they are ready. But as I'm telling you right now, you cannot live where there is food and you go where there is no food. Do you want to die? You cannot go.
This was at the local community accountability meeting held by the Office of the Prime Minister in Muinda Sub-County, Kaliro District. While presiding over the meeting, Minister of State for Bunyoro Affairs Jennifer Namuyangu assured them of productive alternative source of income by government.
We have seen the president talk about fish farming. The other one can be dairy, where they can use their wetlands as grazing areas. It is happening elsewhere in Teso, in Lango, even actually you find big herds within these wetlands, and they are earning more money than even what we are getting.
She said the president is to meet the local leaders in the sub-regions of Busoga, Bukedi, to discuss the issues pertaining the protection of ecosystem.
So I know the president is going to find the time, and as leaders we're also trying to sensitize our people that one, we need water, and these wetlands are water reservoirs, and definitely once an alternative is given, I know our people will obey. But I note that majority of the people are in these wetlands.
Joseph Oko, UBC.
Naguru Teenage Center embarked on training of youth leaders on health services and integrating them into youth empowerment programs. The move is intended to implement the action plans to end the practice of child marriages and other forms of violence against girls, including teenage pregnancy.
2022, government through the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development launched a 5-year national strategy to end child marriage and teenage pregnancy 2022-2023 to 2026-2027. The national strategy is an all-inclusive framework that reflects the global and national commitment of government towards ending the practice of child marriage and other forms of violence against girls. The strategy, among others, provides for an effective, strategic and multi-sectorial programming on ending child marriage and teenage pregnancies in Uganda.
There is no district. If there are, there could be very few where we don't have the presence of NGOs. But also through our structures, the youth councils, the women councils, the people with disability councils, the elder councils, those councils are helping us to do a lot of things in the different places.
To implement the strategy, Naguru Teenage Center has embarked on training of youth leaders to equip them with the necessary knowledge to end such forms of violence in their respective communities.
We are expecting them to go back and evaluate the quality of services and work hand in hand with the health system at that level to improve quality of services.
The training started with youth leaders from the regions of Acholi, West Nile and Central.
We want to now accept that can we positively engage our fellow young people to make them understand the different opportunities that we expect from them to fight the teenage pregnancy.
The training has been done in partnership with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, together with other partners.
So the youth leaders have been trained on social accountability and how they can hold duty bearers accountable for services that should focus on youth, from health services to livelihood programs to development initiatives like PDM.
The intention is to provide for an effective strategic multi-sectorial programming on ending child marriage and teenage pregnancy in Uganda.
Currently, Acholi and West Nile regions top the list with the highest number of gender-based violence, which has been attributed to poverty, according to Olivia Kichoncho. The Department of Reproductive Health in the Ministry of Health is in partnership with Uganda Police in resolving rape cases between parents and victims.
And sometimes we have even seen perpetrators becoming serial perpetrators. They rape one person after the other, and they are known in the community and no one is doing anything about them.
Students from Bishop Stewart University's law program under the umbrella of the university's Law Society have made a remarkable difference in the lives of Kabale district residents by providing free legal aid and education. The passionate students did this in fulfillment of their mission to bridge the knowledge gap about existing laws within communities. University's Law Society students have conducted legal awareness campaigns at Rock High School in Kabale Municipality. Students engaged local communities in the Kadimila Town Council and Rubaya Sub-County, ensuring that the benefits of legal knowledge reach far and wide. Matthias Kaninye, the president of the Law Society at Bishop Stewart University, explained that community outreach and public awareness about laws are regular initiatives organized by the university. In selecting Kabale for this year's outreach, they discovered the residents in the rural areas lacked awareness of crucial laws.
So we do this activity to sensitize people or to teach people about the law, to practice what we study in class, and we extend it to the public and to the society.
During their sessions, the students found that many people were unfamiliar with laws related to land, succession, loans, and other important areas.
Majorly, things were majoring in family. People are having problems within their families. Others are having issues concerning land. But we believe by what we've had and the sensitization that we've had and what we've taught these people, it is a great privilege that these people have gained.
With a deep sense of responsibility, the students dedicated themselves to educating locals about these legal provisions, empowering them to navigate their lives in Uganda more confidently. The interactive sessions provided an opportunity for community members to seek clarification on legal matters that they were uncertain about. Through engaging discussions, participants were able to gain valuable insights and resolve their doubts. The program included private sessions where locals had the chance to share their personal legal concerns with the students. Story compiled by Job Namanya. Now, moving on from that, Prime Minister Robna Nabbanja has commended the Muslim fraternity in the country for emphasizing togetherness, unity, transparency, among others related issues regarding development, and encouraged them to continue supporting government programs aimed at development. This was contained in the Prime Minister's speech read to her by the Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Areas, Hajat Mensa Kabanda, at the commissioning of the multi-million shillings two-storied Masjid Nur at Ngogolo, Butuntumula Sub-County in Luwero District.
Muslim faithful converged at Ngogolo village in Butuntumula Sub-County, Luwero District to witness the commissioning of a multi-million Masjid Nur constructed by the Muslim fraternity in the area. During the function, Muslims held a dua for wishing President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta a quick recovery. In her speech read by the Minister for Kampala, Hajat Mensa Kabanda, the Prime Minister Robina Nabbanja commended the Muslim fraternity for emphasizing unity and transparency.
Muslims, we should be united because we all believe in one God. We all believe in five prayers a day. So we should, when we go to Saudi Arabia, we are all one. So that means we should not go the other way, that this one belongs to Chiburi, this one belongs to Supreme Mufti, the other one goes to Saudi. We are all Muslims.
Hajat Kabanda also congratulated the Muslim fraternity for fighting corruption, especially in this project of constructing mosques across the country.
This money is not from outside, it's not from government, but it's from its own people. So that means we can do any other thing apart from the mosques. We can build universities, we can put up big businesses, when we are also just getting money from our people.
The General Secretary Union of Muslim Councils for East, Central and Southern Africa, Sheikh Haruna Kasangaki, said that this campaign of Muslims' involvement in contributing funds towards construction of the mosques has been a success.
Amaanyi ga buli muntu yenna gabeera mu kubanga bakolera wamu. Buli bwe mwawukana bwe muti n'amaanyi gaggwamu era kubeera kulaba nga tulina lugendo. Omuzikiti guno guyinza okubanga gututte sente kubanga tuzimbeyo n'ennyumba ya imaamu nene nnyo erimu ebisenge bisatu byonna biri self-contained n'eddiiro. Eyinza okubanga abasaba bayinza okubanga basonze sente ezisukka emiliyoni 1,500.
Relatedly, the Muslim fraternity, together with the communities that converged at Ngogoro, signed a memorandum wishing the president a quick recovery and requested him to contest in 2026 on the NRM ticket.
Now, moving on from that, the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, has advised graduates to use their skills to bring about change in society. This was in her speech read by the Minister for Lands, Judith Nalakowal, presiding over the 27th graduation ceremony of Kampala International University in Kansanga.
International University Kansanga has held its 27th graduation ceremony, with over 2,500 students awarded degrees and diplomas in various courses. The Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, represented by the Minister for Lands and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, appreciated the role the university is playing in promoting education in East Africa.
I welcome the fourth Chancellor, Professor Yusuf Daud Mugaya, and thank him for accepting to serve one of the most vibrant and dynamic institutions in the country, and spearheaded by leaders that foster development and positive transformation of an institution in line with the agenda of government.
Alupo also urged the university management to invest more in science and innovation, as the president has been advising and assured intern doctors that government is soon settling their demands.
Masters of Medicine postgraduate students, government has paid their areas of 22 billion and continues to engage in finding a lasting solution to the financing of this category of health workers. We are hopeful an amicable and sustainable solution will soon be reached.
The newly installed University Chancellor, Professor Yunus Mugaya, says, together with the University Board, pledged his support to promote science and technology.
As a Chancellor, I'll make sure that the university keeps pace with the latest developments in innovations in science and technology, and to nurture young scientists who will make Africa proud.
The Vice-Chancellor, Kampala International University, Professor Muhammad Mpizamihigo, disclosed that female students have continued to perform better than their male counterparts.
And the immediate selected area is the Ishaka area for obvious reasons, because of the massive hospital that we have there and the campus and the upcoming infrastructure.
Some of the graduates pledged to use the acquired skills to fight unemployment in the country.
What has not been done in my field is that government has not helped us, whereby there are few maternity centers and we are losing mothers who are producing from government hospitals because there are few midwives. Service provided is insufficient.
We have to work together as a team and then see how best we can improve the industry, and then also concentrate more on practicals, because most of the people that are into the field are not so much equipped with practical skills, that is production, camera work, all that. Yeah, so I feel like if we put more work into that, the industry will be good to go.
Me myself, I can say there's discrimination. So this kind of discrimination, I think
if we work in hand to hand, if we avoid this kind of tribalism and whatever, journalism has its all, it will be okay, and it will be in its kind of moment that everyone will like to enjoy.
Sada Mubale, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
The State Minister for Primary Education, Joyce Moriko, is leading the founder of Human Capital Africa, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, and her team to selected primary schools. Human Capital Africa is collaborating with the African Union and Education Forum for Africa to improve the learning of pupils in foundation classes. Take a look.
Former Vice President of the World Bank, now the founder of Human Capital Africa, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili from Nigeria, is in Uganda to make a contribution towards the improvement of education in foundational classes. Led by the State Minister for Primary Education, Joyce Moriko, Dr. Obi visited selected primary schools, one of them being Uganda Road.
That World Bank report showing that 9 out of every 10 African children are not acquiring basic skills in literacy and numeracy by the age of 10 annoyed me so much. I decided to do something about it. What the Human Capital Africa is doing is to make sure that the interventions, because they are known things like the method of teaching, like ensuring that teachers are not just trained but that they are coached, ensuring that the right kinds of resources, whether in the form of textbooks or other learning aids, are available to children, ensuring that the curriculum is actually designed in a way that the teachers can design their lesson notes and their lesson plans and be able to deliver in the way that children in the classroom are learning.
With the intention to assess the quality of teachers and how learners are taught in foundational classes, Dr. Obi and Minister Moriko took time to sit in class.
Resting, animals, living, move. Clap for yourself, so.
Human Capital Africa is collaborating with African Union and Education Forum for Africa to improve the learning of pupils in foundational classes. According to Minister Joyce Moriko, the aim is to employ and emphasize those interventions that can help to improve the learning of young children.
Together to put a system in place, a system to track the performance. This is basically to see to it best how is our performance to be tracked, to track the performance, so that we have a system in place so that the teaching methods and the outcome, the teaching outcome is tracked. And also we need to keep check and balance of the performance of the teachers. So that is basically what we are doing together with the Human Capital Africa, the African Union and other countries.
Uganda Road Primary is one of the highly populated schools under the Universal Primary Education with over 2,000 pupils. However, the school has employed modern technology to manage both the pupils and the teachers.
As soon as this teacher comes in, they clock in. And we're also doing the same for the children. So as they come in, they clock in and the parents get a message on their phone to know their children have reached. But as soon as the teachers take the register, the roll call, all that information is on my pad to find out how many have come in. The other time when we were doing the temperature in COVID, I would see everybody's temperature. Because you have all the information in your palm, that is how it helps. If I feel like I want to know about you, I only click. If it's a teacher, I click and see how it's been progressing.
Many African countries are still struggling to improve the quality of education, and therefore the intervention by Human Capital Africa, African Union and Education Forum for Africa is welcome. Adia Nakuti, UBC.
Thank you so much for watching the UBC News Weekly Roundup today on the 18th of June 2023. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. Have a lovely afternoon.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action.